Hi, everybody. Good evening. Thank you for joining me. My name is Cynthia, and this is the Grand Boulevard Coalition Show. I'm here joined by my guest, Lanette. She is our intern from Chicago.
Chicago State University.
Yes. So today we'll be talking about stress management, the importance of it, things like that. But before we get into the topic, I just wanted to share our flyer really quickly. This flyer is to promote an event we have coming up. Not this Saturday, but next Saturday. And it's basically a prom expo. The Chicago area project is giving away prom dresses to seniors who need it, seniors who are looking for a dress. This is open literally to anybody, anybody going to prom, of course. So if you are able to attend, there is a QR code at the bottom, but you can also go to the Chicago area project Facebook page and Instagram, and they will be sharing this there as well. And they also have a number to contact and an email as well. But yeah, so hopefully you all are able to attend. It'll be from 8 a.m. to 12, and it will be at Perspective Charter High School. But yeah, exciting stuff. But getting into our topic, I guess thinking about stress management, why it's important. I wanted to get your insight, Lanette. Why do you think stress management is important?
It's important because I don't know, we have to manage stress to just live a healthy life, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know, just doing things in a stressful manner is not comfortable for anyone. I don't, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like learning like those stress management skills, right? I feel like not a lot of people know how, especially youth too, don't know how to do that, and I feel like that just impacts them in so many ways, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so there's a lot of stressful things for youth coming up right now, right? Since it's getting to the end of their year.
Standardized tests and prom, right?
Yes, true.
I know that 8th graders, they are going to high school, so that's a little nerve-wracking. I have a nephew that's actually going to high school next year.
Oh my God.
So,
okay.
yeah.
Wait, did he tell you about like how he's feeling about that?
No, I'm going to talk to him about it.
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't talked to him yet, but...
yeah, there's so much going on. Like you were saying, like final assignments, exams, standardized tests, all that stuff.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
That's a lot of stuff. And I know like the kids that I worked with at the alternative school, they've been talking about like, I have to do these tests, I got to do makeup work, because they're trying to catch up, make sure they can graduate too.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. As you know, like our conversations about just internship, like we're at the end, and I really think just personally myself with stress management this week, I really needed to use some stress management because I was really overwhelmed and just burned out from everything.
There's a lot. Yeah. Do you mind sharing maybe like one or two things that you've done like this week to try to...
I always use my coping skills, right? One of my coping skills is isolation, which it can be a negative coping skill, but mine's is not, because I think it's not, because when I isolate, I just lock myself in my apartment, don't answer my phone. I play Sims.
Nice.
Make my favorite little meals. Just lounge around. Be lazy for once, because I'm never like lazy. I never have a chance to be. So just those things.
Yes, I like that. You gave like a good. That's a lot. I think that's really good, and it's so needed too. Like you said, like so many different things that you can do for yourself that feel so, like, you don't maybe think about them in the moment, like you said, making a nice meal, like your comfort food, something that can make you feel good. I feel like there's a lot of good things too. And just...
What do you do?
I feel like I've definitely been trying to just... like sometimes I like to be like you too. I like to isolate. I feel like it just gives me like time to breathe, without people like asking me questions about either if it's work related or stressful like things going on with like family, and I'm just like, let me just sit in my apartment by myself and watch like a show, like a funny show. I like to laugh. I feel like I laugh literally easily for anything. So watching a funny show that'll make me laugh. There's that one show about teachers on Hulu, but that one is really funny. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
You have to let me know about it.
Yes. But yeah, things like that just to like ease my stress, or also like eat comfort foods, things like that too. I definitely like to do. Or sleep, honestly. It just really...
That's the number one thing, sleep.
Yeah.
If you're tired, that's like the first cure is just, stressed, I mean. If you're stressed while tired, the first cure to me is sleep for sure.
Yes, I agree.
Get your rest.
Yeah. And I feel like for youth too, like talking to their parents maybe about feeling stressed is a little hard, right? Because, well, maybe it depends too on the types of families that you grow up in and if they normalize it or don't normalize talking about how they're feeling. And if a kid maybe sometimes will go up to their parents and like, oh, I'm feeling stressed or I'm worried about these things, but sometimes they'll minimize that and say like, oh, what do you have to be worried about? You're a kid. You have a roof over your head. We pay your bills.
Yes, and I heard that same old song as a kid. It's just like it's literally like a violin in my head.
Yeah.
And I wasn't allowed in my households because I was in foster care. All of them made sure to instill in myself and my sister that like being a kid that's stressed is impossible. Yeah. So I never had time to even tell anyone that I was stressed out or I was feeling this way or it was always, I'm okay.
Yeah. Versus the latter, because then you end up getting a lecture about you shouldn't be feeling that way, basically. Yeah.
And it's like, I'm still a human being.
Yeah. Even if you're young and you don't have those other responsibilities, there's still other things that kids are thinking about and worried about that may not just be home
Absolutely.
stuff. My gosh.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess I wanted to ask you, like, I know you, you've worked with youth before?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So is there any, like, things you remember about them talking about? Like, what are things that have been stressful for them or things that have come up for them, if you can think of any?
Well, the most interactions that I've had with the youth, and I'll just say when I worked at the psych ward, only because it was like variety of ages there versus when I was a teacher, those were just second graders. So just working at the psych ward, I spoke with children about, I had kids who were 13 who were pregnant. I had kids who were in there because they had an Amber Alert out because they ran away from home with a 30-year-old man and they were only 10. So things like that. And I'll just get down to why do they do the things that they do, like act out at home, because I think that's important.
That's a lot, yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's heavy stuff. I feel like definitely for, kids in the psych ward, they've been through very traumatic things.
Yeah, I worked at Garfield Park psych ward on the west side of Chicago, which is the only children's psych ward on that side, which is insane to me. But all of our patients were Amber Alerts.
Wow.
So most Amber Alerts. So they'll get them and they'll ship them to us. Like they'll be found in probably the middle of Indianapolis and they'll have to come to us.
Wow.
So it was tough. It was a lot, but I thank God for that experience for sure. It taught me a lot about the youth and stressful situations and how to,
how to manage those, the crisis.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
There's so many things too, and I feel like other things like bullying, right? Things that they go through at school that can cause them stress and like worrying about going to school the next day.
I was very bullied. So I try to be so relatable. That's why I'm like, I was out and I did that and I I was bullied for all of my time in school up until probably sophomore year in high school. But before that, I was extremely bullied. It was days I was afraid of going to school. I was exhausted with being called ugly. I was exhausted with not looking like the other girls because I was so small and I looked abnormal to other people.
Right. People that just had all these other views, especially I feel like hearing that from people in your age group, it just hurts you more, right? Because then you feel very excluded and very like, okay, why are they kind of putting me out, like, from the rest of the group? Yeah. I feel like I kind of relate to that, too. Like, in middle school, I was in 7th and 8th grade, too. Yeah, I was bullied. I was always just like, oh, my God. Like, just dreading going to school. I dreaded it, but I didn't want to tell my parents just because I was like, that. I know my mom, and my mom probably would have hurt the kid. I was like, I don't want it. I didn't want to make it a big deal. That was my thing. That was the main reason. I was like, I don't want it to be a big deal. And if they don't even get in trouble, then I'm just going to be even more bullied even more. It's just not. I felt for me like it wasn't going to be a win-win situation. So I was like, I would rather just stay quiet and deal with it. But yeah, I hated it.
I hated it. It was the worst.
Yeah. No, it was a lot. And other things too, right? Even things going on at home, being worried about maybe parents arguing or domestic violence.
I mean, imagine going to school, dealing with bullying, and then going home, possibly to be abused or to so. I don't know, that childhood trauma thing, but that'll open up a whole nother can of worms.
Oh yeah. There's so much, right?
Yeah, so much that could factor into why youth are stressed and just individuals all around. So stress management is super, super important.
Yes. Yeah. I had one student in the alternative school share with me about like his housing situation too, and how his mom was telling him he wasn't 18 yet at the time, but his mom was telling him like, oh, you're almost 18, you're basically an adult, you should have a job, you should be helping pay bills, like kind of putting a lot of pressure on this kid. And I'm sure other kids are dealing with that, with a similar situation too, just like how the parents kind of put already a lot of pressure on you to do all these things, to provide for your family when you're freshly 18. And so when he wasn't working, she had threatened to kick him out. And so then that created a whole other thing that now he has to worry about where he's going to live. He had stayed with a friend temporarily. And since then he was able to find a halfway home to stay in. But that's kind of another thing that adds stress to him. And now he's got to worry about his commute to school. So it's like all connects to so many other factors in their life.
And, like us as minorities, we do grow up in that household where it holds the stereotype, but when we turn 18, we need to do something. We're an adult. And just as a person looking at like past friends that I've had or their parents that I've noticed that they'll say, like if they're Caucasian, right, they save their money and they teach them about financial literacy and things like that. So I think it gets very difficult when we talk about like minorities and those stress. I think those stress factors with minorities is much more complex than and research shows it, and that's why I'm so confident in saying that. And this is something that I'm very passionate about talking about. Minority stress, poverty, all of that in that bubble that contributes to stress and mental illnesses in our areas in the inner city with populations of minorities. So
no, especially things like ACEs. You know about ACEs, right? And how like children of color or from diverse backgrounds are more likely to suffer from mental health issues because of like environmental factors that cause them to be stressed out, that cause them to be depressed, anxious. And it's just like a cycle if they can't get out of it, either like generational poverty, right?
You can take the sweetest kid, put that kid in an elementary school that's in the inner city, and this is the sweetest kid, probably have parents who are married, they see love all day, blah blah blah, and you put them in an inner city school, and now because they're in this inner city school and because they have these factors around of homicide and things like that, and this sweet kid has a friend that is murdered. So now that sweet kid, even though that kid comes from a nice household, because of this all about our environment, for sure.
Especially a traumatic event like that, right? It can just switch a kid's personality.
Oh my goodness.
100%.
So
100%. So like kind of thinking about that, right? All the health effects, mental health effects that stress can add to our bodies. This is like what comes with a lack of stress management, right? When people don't know how to handle stress.
Absolutely.
And even with things that are out of their control, right? It's, I don't know if you want to give more examples, right, of mental health issues that can happen if people are really, really stressed out.
I'll use myself as an example. Due to my stress and childhood trauma, now as an adult, I'm living with depression and PTSD and anxiety and things like that. And I just think people of color at my age, Black women especially, it is very important to set aside stress management. Without stress management, I have no clue how I would ever maneuver throughout my days. And that's because I know it's important to notify my triggers and use coping skills and things of that nature. And I just strongly encourage other people who deal with the same mental illnesses as myself. Or if you deal with anything such as anxiety or...
Oh, yes. Yeah, I recently started going to therapy. You know, that's one of the things that can help with stress management too.
Therapy.
Yes. And it's like just teaching me, you know, different techniques, different ways to, if I need to calm myself down, breathing techniques, like some things like that really help. New breathing techniques that I've learned besides like the box method. Honestly, we could talk all about that kind of stuff too. But the 4-7-8 breathing and just like thinking about the things I've talked about with my therapist, and she's like, "Oh yeah, you have anxiety." I was like, I kind of knew that because I can kind of tell, the way that I react to things, right? Or think about things. And I feel like something else that I didn't know in terms of like health effects, right? Someone had told me that it's not 100% happening all the time, right? But stress can cause diabetes, and that was something that kind of blew my mind, and because I kind of think more about the mental health side, not really too much about like actual health effects and side effects that can happen, like diabetes.
Wow.
Someone that told me that she had gone to the doctor, and they told her like, it wasn't like a genetic thing; it was induced by stress. And I was like, that's the thing too. When you're not taking care of yourself, then you can literally get sick.
Yeah, you could literally get sick.
Yeah.
And I know myself, when I'm upset, I can't eat. And I always said, I wish I was that person that was upset and could eat like a carton of ice cream. But like, and that's just, you know, saying when I'm stressed, I can't eat, which results in me having a health, you know, like I'll lose weight or I'll, you know, and it did result into that before. I was depressed and I lost 50 pounds. So, and it's like, it goes the opposite way too, right? Like for people that probably eat because of stress, to handle stress too, then it can lead to things like obesity. Yeah. That's something too that can happen. I don't know if she said that she overate, the girl with diet
I'm not too sure about like the diet and stuff, but I think it has to do with the blood pressure.
Blood pressure. Yeah. Wow. That makes a lot of sense.
Right? Just like, you know, if things happen to them or traumatic events that just cause them, you know, high blood pressure causes the stress, and then constantly having your blood pressure elevated, right, can just affect your body like that.
Wow.
I was like, goodness. Isn't that, I know, I was like, I did not know that was the thing that could happen. And other things too, like heart disease, heart attacks, that like things that can just happen for people who, this is just things that I've also seen like pop culture or on social media too, right? People who are just, you know, holding a lot of anger inside, it just can bubble up, especially if they don't release it in any way, and that can cause all of those things.
You have to release it for sure through those coping skills.
Yes. Yeah. So I guess we can think or talk more about what are some things that youth can do to reduce stress.
Sleep for sure. That was our number one thing. Physical activities for a fact. You know, just going out, either whether it's on a walk or you go to the gym with a friend, you go to the basketball court, it's getting nice outside. Go walk downtown. We have a gorgeous downtown, as you guys know. Just do some things that like removes your mind kind of from reality, right? Physical activities for sure. Being a part of a community like arts and clubs and churches and photography groups maybe. Social media is big. We all kind of like taking pictures. So dressing up, going out to eat, just activities with people that you love.
Yeah.
Eating healthy. Definitely helps for me. My number one go-to when I want to feel great in the day is matcha. Matcha is like green tea powder, and then I'll have an avocado toast. Nice. That's my favorite ever like snack in the day. It makes me feel so good and energetic. Healthy snack for sure. Meditation, breathing exercises. Again, Cynthia, you mentioned like the box thing. stuff like that. Therapy. I also just started therapy. Is the best thing I've ever decided to do in my life. My therapist helps me tremendously. And we are in Chicago. I work for Envision Unlimited. We have therapy there. Nice. We offer free services if you have Medicare. Wow. Awesome. So yeah, it's a lot of other resources out there too that offers free therapy sessions. Yes. So yeah.
I feel like not a lot of people know about, those kinds of programs where they offer free therapy. Yeah. That it's just very accessible to people, even for people who may not have insurance. I can share from experience. There's places that actually offer, like maybe it's for a short amount of time, but they offer therapy to people who don't have insurance too. If you qualify for those certain places, I will shout out Nourishing Hope. That's one of the places that I found out about that they're able to offer therapy for about a year, I think 8 months to a year, free therapy. And if you don't have your health insurance, so that could be maybe for undocumented immigrants, people who are not able to get insurance. Yeah, so definitely looking into those kinds of things and resources is really important too. And like eating healthy, I feel like for kids or youth, it might be a little hard, but I feel like at least finding healthy snack alternatives, right?
It's I think the grocery stores are getting better with like snacks that younger people would like. 100%. So I don't know. They have like healthier donuts now and things like that.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of like educating the kids on that too, right? Because all they know right now is like, oh, when we go to our youth like groups, they're like, oh, you guys got chips, you guys got, and I've told them before, I've tried talking to them about healthy options. I'm like,
maybe instead of like flaming hot, to eat pita chips with hummus.
Yes,
that's really good.
Or like granola bars. Like recently, I've been hearing about like fig bars. Like I tried one, and it's actually not bad.
Is it the brown bar, like the brown fig inside?
Yes, with the inside.
Oh, it's really good.
It's actually it's actually so good, and I'm like that. I did not know that was like another option, but they're coming out with a lot of like healthy stuff, like you said too, and like with the physical activity, like you're saying, the weather's getting nicer, and joining clubs that require physical activity, cross country, track, basketball, and just so many clubs that you can join at your school, I'm sure, and even non-athletic clubs too, but just to have find a sense of community, like a sense of belonging somewhere, right?
Yeah,
if it's
absolutely.
Not with the popular kids at school, or you can find a club that just works with you, and you'll find your people somewhere. You will.
I had trouble finding friends in grammar school, elementary school, and because my sister, she was so popular, I wasn't. And then I finally found like my own group of friends, and it was okay. I'm like, oh, they like the same things I like.
Yes.
And they go through the same things I go through. They're not popular either. So yeah.
But it's like you find these people, you can relate to them. They
absolutely
relate to you. Yeah. No, for sure too. And yeah, like for me in high school, when I, left out of middle school, I was like, I need to find something, somewhere where I can like mix with other people that we can relate to. And I found music clubs. So like things, it can be anything. Art, it can be mural club, it can be just so many things, right? So many different things you can do. They even had like an anime club at my school. So it's like for people, because from experience and like from things that I've seen, like people who tend to like those kinds of things get bullied a little bit, but when you have that club, you have more community, and you have these people that kind of have your back.
You do, and people again who relate to you, because you're
so there's so many things. Definitely, like we said, therapy is a big thing too. I feel like that maybe depending on your culture, parents may or may not be open to that. Some parents, especially like in the Hispanic community that I've heard, is just like, oh, why do you need therapy? What did we do to you?
I think every American or anybody living on Earth needs therapy.
Yeah.
If you're a person, go to therapy.
Yes.
We all face different stressful things. So
yeah, it's really important, definitely.
And please avoid the unhealthy things to manage stress, like abusing substances, things like that. We know we are educated on it. It's not healthy whatsoever. So please look into all of these healthy strategies that we're throwing out there for you guys.
Yeah.
For stress management.
Definitely, yeah. And we will definitely talk about those unhealthy ways in probably future, CAN TV shows. So I want to thank you all for joining us today. I hope you have a good rest of your weekend. And thank you to Lanette for joining us. But yeah, we'll see you all at the end of April. Thank you. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.
Good night.